Welcome back to the Now Morning Show, and we have a new guest in studio with us this morning. Absolutely vibrant, if I do say so myself.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Now Morning Show. We have with us this morning Miss Shelly Ann Hart. She's a program specialist, and we're going to be talking about grandparenting, a seminar that's coming up very soon. So the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services are putting on this seminar really, to, I guess, ease grandparents into the new normal.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us a bit about the seminar.
To support them. Well, before I go to the seminar, I would like to say that the seminar is part of a larger scheme.
Okay.
Which is the grandparenting program. So that's an initiative of the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services, and it's very near and dear to the heart of our minister, Senator the Honorable Donna Cox. So it was meant, this holistic program is meant to support grandparents, provide them with services, skills and training while they raise their grandchildren in this time. So the seminars, the workshops and the webinars that we will have is part and parcel of the holistic grandparent program. So the grandparent program basically will cover or provide counseling, advice, referral services, and of course, parenting training and grandparenting skills and support. So it's meant to be client-focused, focusing on the grandparent and their charges.
Yeah.
So
I think, it's a fantastic initiative, because one of the things that we definitely saw, and I know that you would have seen this at the ministry as well, is the fact that grandparents took the role of parents in many ways with the global pandemic.
Yes.
Yeah, they went from, I guess, being grandparents, you get to spoil your grandchildren. That's what they're there for. As Roka said,
yes.
You raise your children, you spoil your grandchildren. But with this transition now and this new generation, it's something different, to say the least.
Well, grandparents have always provided that level of support in raising their grandchildren from inception. So that we should recognize that. So the ministry, in recognizing that role, and with the changes that COVID-19 brought and the measures in order to keep us safe, the stay-home measures, the closures of daycare and educational institutions, it meant that grandparents now had to take a more active role, at least many more grandparents than they would have before, providing things like support during online schooling for those parents that were at work or going out to work, whether you work from home or you actually went to the job on location. And even for those who were laid off or temporarily unemployed or still permanently unemployed due to COVID-19. So grandparents are providing not only that care and that supervision, but also the financial backing. So it is making them more vulnerable than before. And the ministry, recognizing the critical role that the grandparents play, decided that we needed to provide them with this necessary support and skills. And this is an initiative, as I said, very near and dear to Minister Hart. She launched it in August 2021. And this is why we are coming up with all the different aspects of the program. So we will be kicking off with the webinar.
Okay.
And that will take place next week, Wednesday, the 10th of November from 10:30 a.m. Everything is virtual because we still have to maintain our safety. So it will be joined online. You can access it via our ministry's website and Facebook page. The website is www.social.gov.tt. So the seminar and the webinar is meant as a teaser to the workshop.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So the grandparents webinar, which will be next week Wednesday, is to open up and expose grandparents. So it's open to all ages of grandparents, because we don't know. Whereas many years long ago, when you look at a grandparent, you're thinking a senior citizen. Most grandparents were senior citizens, but especially now that has changed. So we have all ranges of grandparents. So we'll be providing support for the whole gamut.
That's fantastic to hear. And I like the fact that you mentioned, of course, we have seen the evolution of grandparents going from what we would have said as always senior citizens.
Yes.
So now we have all age ranges. So one of the questions I did want to ask is, who are you targeting? So we know at the seminar you're targeting grandparents, but in the larger scheme of things, are you also going to be including other individuals, like maybe guardians, that sort of thing?
Well, under the National Family Services Division, who is leading the effort on behalf of the ministry, we already provide parenting training and skills for parents, guardians, step parents, foster parents, adoptive parents. So that is already in our scheme of things, and we will continue that programming as usual. So what we focused on now is grandparents, because while they were always part and parcel of the ministry's grouping or focus, we decided that we would particularly target them to address their particular needs and concerns during this time. So that is why we are pulling them out of the wider scheme and targeting interventions towards them.
I like the fact that one of the things you mentioned is with, I know with some of the topics that you do have for the webinar as well, something as simple as the financial side of it, and even the legal framework as well.
Yes, so next week we'll be focusing on 3 topics. The webinar will start at 10:30, as I said, just to give persons a teaser, so it's to bring their awareness and provide them with some knowledge on some of the key aspects of parenting and grandparenting. So the 3 topics that we will cover next week, Wednesday, would be juggling 3 generations, the balancing act. And we know there can be tensions where 3 generations exist, or whether it's just because, you know, some of us, some of the parents might say, you know, my parents raised me this way, so I may not necessarily want some of the, you know, more harsh treatments, or, you know, I think I need to be more firm in these areas. So, and then grandparents have their way of parenting. They have done it before. So there will exist natural tensions between parent and grandparent, and then you have grandparent and grandchild or grandchildren. So it's helping them navigate that territory. Then we have the second topic will be exploring your rights as a grandparent. So focusing on some of the legal and the financial considerations that, you know, they need to think about when raising their grandchildren, and some of the vulnerabilities that, you know, they are exposed to that they may not even be aware of.
Yes.
Especially for those grandparents who are raising their grandchildren full-time in the absence of a parent.
Yeah.
So this will be very critical to them in particular. You know, what they need to do, who they need to call, where the support lies. So all that will be provided next week. And of course, we close off with gender socialization and stereotypes as it relates to parenting and grandparenting.
Yeah, that's definitely a topic.
So we know some of the ways and methods we might have used before, especially the traditional notions of who does what in the household. You know, we may have to change that up a little bit in this current time. So, you know, yeah,
I think definitely, and I think sensitizing as well, because, you know, admittedly, grandparents, as we mentioned before, you know, they have a different way of doing things.
Yes.
This younger generation, they have a very different way of doing things. So finding that happy medium that they're going to be able to come to terms with, okay, this is what's going on now in society, and how can we mold that which we did before with what's going on and still keep our core values, because that's something that's so important.
Exactly.
And with this webinar, well, seminar as well, because as you said, this is part of an entire program that you're doing. I think that's fantastic that you're actually ensuring that, okay, we're keeping our core values as Trimbegonian families as well, moving into the future. Now, before we wrap, we do have a question. For those who are interested in taking part, is this available to everybody? Do you have to register?
The webinar is open. Yes, we have registration, just to, you know, get an idea of who is interested in our programming. The registration is open to not only grandparents, but the general public. So please go to the ministry's website and the ministry's social media pages and register, right? You can also contact us at the parenting unit at the National Family Services. Our number is 623-2608, extension 6704 and 6705. And what we want to say, as I said, the webinar is just a teaser. So later in November, we will also be having the workshop, and that provides for more interaction and capacity building of grandparents. So for that program, we will focus on 35 to 40 grandparents and do a more interactive session with them and cover more topics.
That sounds fantastic.
Give them more hands-on experience and practice, and they will have a more open forum for discussion, and of course creating connections.
Yeah, that's so important, especially in these times. Thank you so much for being with us on the Now Morning Show. Viewers, Shelly Ann Hart talking about the grandparenting webinar that's coming up, and it's just the beginning of some fantastic stuff from the Ministry of Social Development.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
You telling your granny that is me to be blamed. What you want to tell your grandmother? Rosie. What you want to tell your grandmother? Rosie. What you want to tell your grandmother?